Hey guys, it's John. I'm playing some 3 Minute, and I've got Kasp Karpov as an opponent. This guy is a combination of Kasparov and Karpov. That's intimidating. That is very intimidating. That would be quite a good player, you know? I'm going to play c5 here. This is a good move against this b6, b5 idea. Now the plan for white is to put the knight on f4 and develop the bishop through e2, typically this line. Kasp Karpov. Let's see if this guy is anonymous. Pretty good 3-minute rating, though. I'll be castling short next, probably posting my rooks on c1, d1. I think this one I'm going to take. Yeah, I'm going to take. Castle. Okay, so sometimes in this structure, a4 is a good move. So I'm contemplating that. I think I'm going to do it, and I expect him to play rook b8. But after he goes rook b8, I can trade on b5, and he might have some trouble developing this bishop, because b7 could be met by knight takes b5 in that case. Wow, so he just advances. Knight d1 or knight d5. Knight d5 certainly looks way more natural. Yeah, let's do that. I don't see why not. This looks way, way more natural. Now he's got two things hanging. Both of these pawns. Also, like if this knight moves, bishop b6 might be an issue. I don't think b4 was good. It's too loosening. But we'll find out. Yeah, okay, so I can't go knight b6 right away. Or I could, but I can't move my knight then. Like, let's say he plays like queen d6. I couldn't move my knight because my queen is pinned. So I could just grab a pawn now. I could also take and jump my other knight into d5. I think I'm just going to grab a pawn. Just keep it simple. Takes there, we trade. Just do this. If he goes rook b8, I think I'll play knight b6. I was going to do that, but knight d3 might be an issue. Let's still do it. I think it's good. Discovered attack on his queen. So if knight d3, I take here, he takes with c-pawn, hit this c-pawn, and maybe a5, just to really clamp down my knight on b6. I think that's good. I'll probably play a5 on almost any move he plays here. Well, not knight d3, but trade and then play a5. Let's see how he handles it. He does jump in. Okay, so I'll do this. Because I'm not worried about this pawn at the moment. We've got that under wraps. Okay, how about put queen c5. Just attack the bishop. Oh, b2's hanging. Whoops. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Okay, let's do that. Comes to c2. Let's just sack the exchange. It's going to remove some of the pressure. At least I hope that clarifies the position somewhat. I mean, I have two pawns and the knight for it. This rook is somewhat under pressure too. Let's go g3. Okay. f4. Yeah, and if he takes, I have e5. Let's go here.
Check.
I'm pinned right now, but I don't think he can exploit it. So let's get out of this pin. G5, wow. Can't go knight d5. Let's go here. Let's attack that pawn.
Check.
Wow, really?
Time warp.
I don't see what that does. You gonna go f5? Nope, doesn't go f5. Let's go here. Let's just guard everything.
Check.
Just try to guard everything. Okay,
Check.
now I've got everything covered. Yeah, okay. And also I was a little faster at the end too. Let's take a look at that. So this line is, those who have watched my channel know that I like this move, knight ge2 on move 6. This line a6 is one of the ways black can handle the position. More often you see c5. c5 would be the main move, in which case white can take it into a Benoni type position with d5. White can also play bishop e3 and try to steer it into Maroczy bind. Another option is knight c6. It's really popular. White usually goes bishop e3 followed by queen d2. But this a6 move is not so bad. The other day I posted a game where I played Daniel Naroditsky, and we had, in that game, I believe this exact same position through here. And I think he also might have played rook e8. He played rook e8 or bishop b7. I can't remember which. But it was very similar. And also in that game, he advanced c5, and I played an early capture on c5. I think it's good to clarify that structure immediately and get control of the d-file. Also in that game, I managed to go a4 as well. In that one, it was slightly different, and I'll post this game in the comments, by the way. He kept his pawns here, and then after a few more moves, I'd say around maybe move, I don't know, 17 to 19, somewhere like that, I played a4 with the intention of trying to get him to play b4. And then I did a reroute of my knight. I went knight b1, and then tried to get it through d2 to c4. So a lot of this line revolves around the queenside construction for black, because white's majority over here is pretty solid, and it's not going to advance at the moment. But the queenside is kind of up in the air. It's more of a fluid structure for black, and white can try to exploit it, like almost doing like minority attack style position or scheme by playing like a4, as I was talking about. So it's interesting that he played c4, maybe trying to establish his own structure and asking me what I plan to do about this chain of pawns. But it seems like a4 is a good reply. The most consistent move to keep this structure together would be rook b8. But after rook b8, I take, and I was just thinking rook fd1. And I think he has some problems coordinating, because I was saying bishop b7 is always going to leave the b5 pawn hanging. And I have control over the a file, and he might have some problems down the d file because his knight on d7 is pinned. So he could face some trouble in really breaking out of this situation. And if he plays something like queen e7, trying to escape the pin, I think rook a7 comes in handy for me. This is starting to look really promising for white. So I don't like c4. Possibly I'm being too critical of his position, but let's see. Yeah, Engine thinks this is already really good for white. Just says bishop b7 instead. I think this eval is inflated, though. I don't think white is that much better in this position. That's a lot. Interesting. So, yeah, likes that I go a4. It's almost mandatory that white play a4. Because if white doesn't use the rook pawn to break this up, then I don't really have a plan. I could play some generic move like rook fd1, but if I don't make use of my a-pawn lever quickly here, it might disappear. He might get a chance to play bishop b7, maybe reinforce that b5 point with bishop c6. The only other active thing white can really do here is plunk a knight on d5, but that's not devastating for black by any means. Okay, so yeah, the computer really starts to like my position now. Take, Bishop e6. I did this. Okay, that move might have been a mistake. Bishop b6. Maybe I didn't give that enough thought. Because I mentioned how in this position after knight e5, bishop b6 I didn't think was that good because let's say he moves his queen. I can't go knight c7. Well, I guess for a couple reasons, but main one is that my queen is hanging, but also the bishop would be loose on b6. So once I saw that that wasn't possible, I kind of discounted bishop b6 in future lines. So that's my excuse for not really looking at bishop b6 here, and instead playing rook fd1. Oh wow, really does not like my position now. Knight b6. Really? What did he miss? Oh wow, bishop d4. Huh. That would have been a nice move. Wow, very nice. So the engine points out that this is a strong move for black. That's like the quintessential in-between move. Who would not just make this automatic capture? Even in an OTB game. Like, who would not play just c takes d3 here? But bishop d4 is strong, exploiting my shakiness on this diagonal. That's incredible. Okay, so let's look at a few lines. Like, if I take his bishop, he takes with the queen.
Check.
Say I move my king, and rook takes b6. Yeah, and I'm going to be down a piece because he's going to take here next. Or queen c3, swap the queens, and then take on d3. Winning for black. Beautiful move. And his threat is just simply to take. If I try to bring my queen back, let's say here, I'm sure he can take with the queen. Now he's got two attackers on e3, so I have to address that threat again. And there's just no good way to do it, because as soon as I address the threat, my bishop on d3 is going to hang. This makes for a good puzzle. Okay. So, luckily, yeah, he took back instantly. Neither of us saw that, needless to say. I went here, trying to disrupt his bishop. So when he played bishop e5, I kind of figured queen h4 was on the agenda for him, going after h2. Guess f4 was stronger, though. Yeah, I could see that. Because it might be beneficial for me to try to shut this bishop out of the game, because it really had a lot of influence on this diagonal soon. So bishop e5, queen c5. This is a good maneuver, bishop c2. If I can consolidate in this position, I don't think white's much worse, but I'm probably going to have to stamp out his activity to get there. So I was wondering about bishop d4. Bishop d4, I think I would have played queen f2. Yeah. So if something like this happens, I think this is okay. You know, in these positions where you've sacrificed an exchange, and let's say you have a rook and a minor piece left, rook and knight or rook and bishop against your opponent's two rooks, it's really beneficial most of the time if you can keep that remaining rook on the board that you have. So in other words, don't go into like a pure rook versus whatever minor piece scenario you have. And there's some reasons for that, but mainly it'll give you more activity, and you can hide the fact that you don't have a rook compared to him. You have one less rook, yet you have minor piece instead. You can hide that fact by keeping one of both of your pieces on. Whereas when you exchange the rooks, it sometimes becomes more noticeable that the rook is like better than the minor piece. So kind of a digression, but that comes up in this game because I think if he could ensure that like the queens and the bishops and maybe a pair of rooks came off the board, I'm not so confident about my chances.
Check.
I mean, that actually did happen at the end, but the thing was I won another pawn in the process. So g5. Yeah, g5 was a weird move. I don't know why he did that. Engine still prefers him if he just lifts his rook. I guess I could have just taken, too. Captured on g5. I thought his idea was this. Yeah, that's what he played, right? g4. Yeah, okay, I thought his idea was f5. That's what it was. Daring me to bring my king out, which I can assure you I would not have done. like king h3 and say rook takes e4. So this is kind of a good example of what I'm saying about exchanging the rooks, because I feel like after I take, and let's say he takes here, I guess the engine thinks I'm okay somehow, but to me, I feel like I lose a lot of my potential for counterplay when I no longer have that rook. Like now I'm relying on this far-flung knight to give me play. That rook just seemed to like shore everything up for white. But it's kind of an abstract concept. But he didn't do that. He played this, and then I got to go back. And now it was just total time scramble till the end. Did I miss some winning move here? Rook d3 would have been good. Okay. Yeah. And then wherever his queen goes, I'm going to have some sort of knight jump, like knight e7, and pick up his rook. Okay. Yep, complete time scramble at the end, so...
check,
Yeah, and this situation I didn't mind because... Oh, actually, he missed rook d3 check. Scratch that. I did mind this scenario. Never mind what I just said. But, like, okay, when he plays rook b2 and now I get my knight to d5, this is nice because white has everything under wraps. I've got everything, all my weak points secured.
check,
And then he ended up flagging. Okay, interesting game. I'm still amazed by that bishop d4 move. I'm trying to make that into a puzzle. Alright, well thank you guys for watching. I'll be back later today with more videos. Talk to you guys later.